today I'm going to recommend this book. This is really exciting and I really love it. It's named I Was Here, written by Gail Forman. And it's all about that a girl wants to find why her best friend's suicide and all the mystery, and it's so exciting the process. So I really recommend for who want to read about mysteries and dogs.
Hi everyone, the book I would like to recommend is Narnia, because Narnia is a very cool, interesting series of books, and it is full of adventures and mysteries all around the books, and I almost liked them, but Ricky told me that he liked them a lot.
Last year, in my other school, I read a book called Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. It was one of my favorite books of all time. All of my class really enjoyed it, and it has such an enjoyable storyboard that I highly recommend all of you go read it. It's such a fun and quirky book with a very tragic story at the end, but it's highly recommended.
I've got your next reads for the summer. It's Eric Larson's The Splendid and the Vile. It is my favorite book right now. 11 weeks on the New York Times bestselling list for a reason. It's about Winston Churchill's first year as Prime Minister in the UK, and it's full of heroes, it's full of villains, and even though we know the ending of the story, you won't want to put this one down. Go for it.
I would love to recommend Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime, for your summer reading list. It is hilarious but also very real, and it teaches you a lot about the apartheid in South Africa, and it just feels like you're watching one of his stand-up routines.
Hi everyone, well this is Good Dog by Danger Reinhardt, author of The Honest Truth. For those of you who already read it, this book is full of emotions. It stars this dog that its friendship, it's over the top to the moon and back. It's really interesting. It starts companionship and many more other traits that will melt your heart into love and happiness.
The book that I'm presenting is The City of Fallen Angels. This book falls in the genre of fantasy and adventure. It's the fourth book from the Mortal Instruments series. What I like about this book is that there are many obstacles that the main characters have to face, which grows their bond even stronger. It is definitely worth putting on your next reads list.
Hello, so one book I recommend to a secondary student is Look Both Ways, A Tale Told in 10 Blocks by Jason Reynolds. So this book for me personally was a very fun book to read, and I think one of the reasons that made it very interesting is because this book is composed into 10 stories. So instead of chapters, it's made into stories, which made it very more fun to read. And this book has also gotten multiple awards, so I for sure recommend it for you guys to read it.
Hi everyone, so I have two book suggestions for summer reading. The first one is Fantastic Land by Mike Bachoven, and this is essentially a modern day Lord of the Flies. It's about like a giant hurricane that comes to Florida, and it takes out all these, like this theme park, and all these people are trapped, and essentially what they do whenever they're stuck in this like really horrific situation. Also, it's cool because this book is told through like a series of interviews. So each chapter is like the story told from a different perspective, and you kind of get to fill in like the holes in the story. So it's kind of gory, it's a little creepy, it's suspenseful, but it's such a good book. My other suggestion is going to be Little Fires Everywhere. So this is on Reese Witherspoon's book club, and it also was turned into a Hulu series, so you know that it's good. It's just about this little community, Shaker Heights. It's outside of Cleveland, and this mom and her daughter move in, and they're like kind of drifters, and when they come in, all of a sudden they start to stir up some problems, and really deep dark secrets come out, and essentially the community just reveals a lot of things that show that it's not actually this idealistic, perfect place. So Little Fires Everywhere is a little slow at the beginning, but I promise you it picks up, and it's so good. So I hope you guys read one of these over summer. I hope you enjoy, and thank you.
Hello ANS Tigers, my name is Eliet Figueroa and I'm a senior ANS, and today I'm bringing you some book recommendations for summer reading. My first recommendation would be Patron Saints of Nothing by Randall Bay. it's a heartbreaking story and really moving and super interesting because it's about a mystery and you should really check it out. And my second recommendation would be A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. The book is styled kind of like in poetry, and at the beginning I didn't really like reading poetry, but this book changed my mind about poetry and you should really read it. It's very interesting. It talks about life and really thinking about it. It's about life and death, and it's just overall very interesting, and I think you should read it.
Hello, my name's Indra Nusa, and today I'll be talking about a novel I read called Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott. This book is based on Lisa May Alcott's life with her 3 sisters in Concord, Massachusetts in the 1860s, with their father fighting in the American Civil War, and with their sisters Jo, Meg, Amy, and Beth at home with their mother. This story tells of how the sisters grow up, find love, and find their place in the world. I honestly recommend this book to people who love inspiring, heart-changing stories, because this story helps you see how these 4 sisters manage to keep going through all these rough times that they go through. So if you liked this book, make sure to write it in your next reading list. Thank you. Bye.
Hey readers! Just want to recommend a couple of books for you for summer reading. The first one is by one of my favorite authors, Michael Connelly. He writes really great detective fiction. So if you're looking for something a little dark but a good mystery story, go with anything by Michael Connelly. You won't be disappointed. For some of you middle school readers, this series by Margaret Peterson Haddix is, it starts with Among the Hidden, okay? And I highly recommend this one. Mysterious. It's about children that aren't supposed to be allowed, like they are forbidden children, and so they have to hide. And it's the first one in a series. We've got several others, so it might get you going in a good direction this summer. I hope you enjoy it. Happy reading!
Hello, I'm gonna do a small review on the book Sunny Side Up. So Sunny Side Up is about this girl that goes visit her grandpa in Florida. But the real reason remains why she's there. So you should go check it out for summer, and it is very interesting. It's by Jennifer L. Holm and Matthew Holmes. So have fun reading this book.
The book I wanted to share was Alex Rider. It is about a 14-year-old boy that is a spy, and the author is Anthony Horowitz, and I really enjoyed it because it was filled with action and it had an overall good story.
Hello, today I'll be talking about a book that I really like, which is this one. This is Champion, and this is the 3rd series of the book Legend, and it's written by the best New York Times best-selling author Mary Lou. And so I really like this novel because this book is full of romance, adventures, and mystery. And it's about 2 main characters, which the girl is called June and the boy Day. June is a prodigy working in the Republic, and Day is a criminal, which he just does criminal stuff to help his family, and there's a cause which take them together. And I really like this book because it's written in 2 perspectives, which one is Day and the other one is June. Thank you.
Good morning. So today I'm talking about this book. It's called Paper Town by John Green. He's a New York bestseller. So this book is about a boy called Quentin Jackson, who is looking for and finding a girl called Margot Rose Billman. And the girl, Margot, leave him with a lot of clues in order to find her. So for those people that really like mystery, I really recommend this book. And this book not only has mystery, it also contains young adult romance and as well as a little bit of actions. So I really recommend this book.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and today I'm going to be showing you my favorite book, which is the Time magazine, Time Great Discoveries, A Journey Through Space and Time. This is my favorite book because it has a huge compilation of different categories and discoveries and finds. Like for example, these categories are included as science, astronomy, volcanoes, space, and other prehistoric finds like Neanderthals. Like for example, some of my favorites is A Donkey's Find, which is about a donkey that fell in a hole in ancient Egypt, and when somebody saves him in the hole, they found out that he found a tomb filled with gold-covered mummies. And the Iceman that was found between the border of Austria and Italy, and the faces on the moon, which is a very interesting find because nobody still knows the answer of these 3 finds on the moon.
So this is one of my favorite books. It's called Cryptonomicon. The author's name is Neil Stevenson, and this book tells 4 intertwining stories. 2 of them are happening during World War II, and then 2 of them happen in the present. And the characters in the present stories are grandchildren of the characters in the World War II stories, and gradually at the end of the book, all of these stories intertwine, and it's very interesting. The characters are very interesting as well. Highly recommend Cryptonomicon.
Hey all, a book that I can recommend is The Postman by David Brin. It's maybe a timely book, post-apocalyptic fiction about a man trying to survive as he wanders through what's left of Oregon, which is where I am now. So if you're looking for an adventure story, it's not too crazy, but it's kind of a fun one. Check out The Postman.
Hi everyone, so I have a couple of recommendations for your summer reading. I came to the 2 books because I've been reading a series with my daughter called The Land of Stories, and it's a fantastic series which I'll also recommend about kind of the fairy tale world and kind of the backstory of a lot of the most beloved fairy tale characters that we grew up reading. And so in reading that with her, I was just reminded of a couple of books that I read years ago, and so I went back to a reread. So the 2 books that I've been rereading are by the same author, Gregory Maguire, and one of them is called Son of a Witch, and the other one is called Mirror, Mirror. Mirror, Mirror is kind of a retelling of Snow White from the point of view of the evil queen, and Son of a Witch is of the Wizard of Oz, also looking at the villains in those stories and kind of where that villain's character got developed and what made them into the villain, or the perspective of the villain that we were used to seeing in the fairy tale stories. So I've been rereading those. It's been nice to just kind of get reacquainted with an old book. So that's what I've been reading and what I recommend for summer reading. So enjoy your time off, and while we're still kind of in our homes, take advantage and dive into a book.
Hello students, how are you? My name is Mr. Diaz, and I want to share with you my favorite book. I actually discovered it while I was a student at ANS, and I had to do summer readings too. So I chose this book, and I never regretted reading it. I fell in love with it. It's full of lore, it's well written, it's one of the finest English literature books, and it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. I promise you will fall in love with it. It's always been part of my digital collection ever since I read it, and it's one of the finest books I've ever read. I promise you will not regret reading this book, and if you want to choose another one, Frankenstein, it's another great classical horror book you will love, and I promise one of the best. I hope you like it, I hope you choose it, and I hope you enjoy it. Have a happy summer vacation.
So the book I'm going to recommend is called Illegal. Illegal is a graphic novel, 177 pages long. I want to recommend it because it is a fairly fast read. And also I want to recommend it because it has a really impactful story. The story consists on a kid who lives in Africa with his brother. only with his brother because he lost a big part of his family. And from one day to another, his brother just disappeared. No one knew what happened to his brother. That's why he decided to go on a journey to rejoin his brother and find him. And over this journey, he figured out many of the family secrets and what happened to the family and what actually happened to his brother.
Hey everyone, Dr. Mancuso here. I want to recommend a book for you called Thanks for Being Late. It's by Thomas Friedman. Thomas Friedman is also the one who wrote The World is Flat, and it was really about the interconnectivity of all the people on the planet now that we have fiber optic cable running pretty much all over the world. Thanks for Being Late is built on the premise that you never want to waste any time. So he says thanks for being late to all the people who hold him up late when he meets them for breakfast or lunch, because he has time to think about things and to ponder the world. And you know, when I read, I take copious notes on things I read, and this is a really interesting book as it talks about what's going on in the world as far as technology goes, and the importance of technology and the importance of interconnectivity. And he talks about, for example, 2007 was a major year. That's when Twitter, Facebook, iPhone, all those things sort of happened, and they all happened at the same time because of this interconnectivity. One of the favorite quotes I have here is, education is a static social structure that we need to make it more dynamic by purposefully teaching students how to learn, then how to unlearn, then how to relearn. And that's the premise of a lot of this book, is the fact that in the future, schools may not exist because you have everything you need. And it's rather ironic right now with what's going on in the world. You have everything you need at your fingertips. It's just a matter of motivating yourself to learn how to code yourself, to learn about ancient history, whatever it might be. But it's a very interesting book. It's a nonfiction book, obviously, and I highly recommend it. And all of the books that Thomas Friedman has written have been very fascinating. So do enjoy it. Hopefully put it on your summer reading list.
I grabbed this story right before we left school. It's called 1,000 Splendid Suns. I strongly recommend it as a great read. It follows the dramatic tales of Afghanistan over a 30-year period of revolution and war and rebuilding. And you follow the lives of two generations of people as they're living through different types of tragedies and struggling to survive. And even though it's an emotional roller coaster and it's full of all kinds of drama and interesting intrigue, it does leave you feeling hopeful. So I recommend 1,000 Splendid Suns. If you like historical fiction, or you like reading about human rights, or just fiction in general, it's a page turner from the beginning all the way to the end.